I'd like to start this review by giving a big thank you to Gravitas Ventures for the early screener to a movie hitting digital and VOD on October 15th, and that is called 9 Windows. What did I think of this one after it finished? Well, I thought that this was a really interesting premise. It could have had a lot going for it, but unfortunately falls flat. Let's get into why. Hey guys, thank you so much for sparing your own time out to check out my review of 9 Windows. I really appreciate you stopping by. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, feel free by clicking the red button down below and seeing more videos of mine, what I've got coming up. This is written and directed by Simón. I've never seen this director's previous works, and this stars a whole host of people, including some really big names like Forsythe and Michael Paré. We've also got Garle and Millan. And essentially this tells a story of Liza, played by Garle, who is unfortunately involved in an accident within like the first 2 minutes of this movie, and she's left wheelchair bound, and she spends her time mostly at home and just watching videos online, like these 9 Windows, hence the title of the movie. And as she is just watching other people's lives going by, as she's just depressed and wallowed in her state, she comes across a video of a serial killer who is just killing victim after victim, and she wants to try to get the police involved to help her to stop this person's killing spree. And I'll leave it there to try to keep the spoiler vague as I possibly can. So I didn't watch a trailer before going into this one, so I was completely fresh, and I was very curious when I was sent this by Gravitas Ventures, and I thought, wow, the premise sounds pretty good. And after I can watch it, I'd say there was definitely some elements I enjoyed, but unfortunately it falls flat with a really good potential premise that could have been maybe an underrated gem of the year, but unfortunately it's not that. Now let's get into some positives. I think the two main supporting roles of Michael Paré and Forsythe, of course they're veteran actors at this point. They do a good enough performance. They're kind of sleepwalking in a way, but at least they're still likable. At least you can still appreciate them in this outing. I don't think the acting overall by everyone, including Garle and Millan, is bad. I think it's decent enough, but can I say any of these actors or actresses were born to play these roles? No, absolutely not. But the main positive that I have really is the premise and how this was shot. I think it was done pretty well. You can tell it's a lower budget movie, but I think with what the resources they had given, they try to do the best they can, because this 9 Windows that Liza is watching all these lives go by on, it almost seems like it's a platform like YouTube, but they don't use that branding, they call it something else. And I think the structure and the editing that goes into making those is done good enough where it is convincing that you're watching some live feeds happening before you, and especially as our character is also experiencing that. And this is definitely a movie that has a lot of messaging to it, especially around enjoying and making the most of your own life and not just wallowing on like social media and seeing everyone's lives around you, whether they're positive or negative. And they discuss trolling in this movie, and I think that's a really important and integral take, because it's so easy for someone to be in a comment section somewhere and really leave like a negative comment, which I've had plenty in the past, but yet they don't know what's going on in someone's lives. You know, maybe my life might on camera look great, but in real life maybe it isn't, you know. And I'm not going to discuss if that is or isn't, you know, but just to make an example, right? Like, there's all that going on in people's lives that people don't know about, and just assume, oh, well, hey, they've got everything, they're living like the Joneses and they're always happy, blah, blah, blah. But then some people don't post the negativity online, or sometimes if they do, sometimes it come across from some people's angle as attention seeking. And I think that is discussed quite importantly. It's not fully executed to the point where it's amazingly delivered, the message, but it's there, and you can definitely see what the director was going for when Simón was writing this feature. And besides that, I would say the negatives for me is, again, some of the messaging doesn't land. The acting overall decent enough, but it's not incredible. And I think this mystery of who this killer actually is pretty weak. It serves a purpose in terms of it feels like this could have been really compelling. It could have left the audience guessing and being like, well, you know, who's doing this and who's behind all these sinister acts? And we find out who it is, and it's kind of like, oh, Alright, okay, so it's that person, okay, well what's their motives for doing all of this? You don't ever find that out, and I just felt there was some gaps missing in the structure of the narrative that unfortunately didn't glue together everything else and make this a really solid picture. There's also a little bit of a cringy romance, and I wasn't really on board for it. It didn't really make a lot of sense. It was also quite puzzling as to why certain decisions were made and certain things were executed. Do I think that this movie might find an audience? Yeah, I think that some people will really enjoy this one, but I can also see a lot of people being like, meh, that passed an hour and 20 minutes, but I don't care to watch it again, and I'm probably in that minority camp. So my overall score for 9 Windows would probably be a maximum 2 out of 5 stars. Again, there was enough here to like, but unfortunately not fully executed. But have you guys seen this movie? Are you going to check it out? Let me know down below in the comment section so we can continue the discussion down there. If you haven't signed up to my Patreon, well, the link's down below in the description box, so you can do so for only £2 per month. Big thanks to all the awesome legends who help to support Patreon. In the meantime, if you haven't seen these videos of mine, click over here and have a bit of a deep dive. Till next time, I'll see you guys. I'll be seeing you later.